Hey, appreciate y'all joining us. Thanks for covering our program and our players. Thank you also to our fans for great turnout, enduring the rain and the weather delay stuff that we had Saturday night. I thought, considering those circumstances, we had a really good crowd. Tough loss, very disappointing way to start conference play. We had a lot of chances to take advantage of some opportunities that could have made the game go our way, and we were not able to capitalize on those. We've got to coach some of those details better, and our guys got to execute them better, and everybody's got to look in the mirror and take ownership of their actions. We talk a lot about the definition of a man in our program as someone that's accountable for their actions, and it starts with me, and I can promise you we're working really hard to try to get some of the things fixed that we got to get fixed. The good from the game, defensively held them to 16 points and 290 yards allowed and 90 yards rushing, which was much lower than what their normal has been the last couple of years. They've been running for about 200 yards a game over the course of the last season and a half. We held them to 90, and really most of that 90 came on about 3 plays. And 16 points is well under their average. The first 2 games they scored in the 30s, so those were positives. And also third down defense was really good. 3 of 16 on third downs is what they were. Really one critical one on a third and long where we gave up a dagger, a middle-of-the-field throw that was unfortunate right before their touchdown. If we defended that well, might not have allowed a touchdown in the game. And then positives offensively, 332 yards passing is a good thing. And I thought our receivers, the ball was distributed well in regards to several guys being involved. You saw Jabri, you saw Devontae Ross, you saw Chris Lewis, you saw Deshaun Stoudemire really kind of show back up, making plays like he did at times last year. So that was good to see the pass game get going. The bad things, I thought defensively, several run fits that we could have cleaned up going back to those 3 long runs that we gave up. James Madison's a good football team. You can't beat yourself and misfit things, and so we didn't do some things there well at times. Just situational awareness on a couple things on that one third down I mentioned, and just coverage recognition on where we are on the field. And then offensively, we got to play better at the line of scrimmage and not hide from that. I thought we got to improve there quickly. We knew pass game stuff was there for the taking in some regards and felt confident about our plan there. Probably abandoned the run a little bit too early. JMU has been – they were going into the game first in the country in yards per carry allowed. Need to do a better job of sticking to our guns a little bit. And, Kamani is one of our best players. This game's about players, not plays. I don't care what system you run. You make sure you got the right players doing most of the work, and we got to make sure he stays actively involved in regards to getting him his touches because he is a really high-level player for us. And we got to do a better job of the line of scrimmage in the run game. And then special teams, just didn't think we played clean all across the board. A couple of kickoff return decisions that I wasn't pleased with that we made, and a couple other things we got to improve upon. So that are obvious. So, but wrapping that up, players of the game, offensive player of the week. While I did say we got to play better at the line of scrimmage, there were a couple of guys I thought that played really well on the O-line, and one of them is offensive player of the game, Derek Graham. Derek played a really quality football game. Defensive player of the week, Dell Pettus. And then special teams player of the week, Julian Peterson. Julian's a defensive lineman for us, plays on our shield on our punt team, and has done a really good job and has gotten a lot better as a player on defense as well. Job taker of the week on defensive scout team. This guy's name keeps coming up, Casey Bradford. And he's a great fit in our program, really proud of what he's doing to add value to our team every day. Offensive job taker of the week, Alex Cash. Special teams job taker of the week, Cameron Torres. And then the Nathan Harris John Johnson Service Award goes to Billy Gilmore, true freshman here from Alma Bryant, offensive lineman. The Corey McCullough Spirit Award goes to Tay Meadows. Tay's been a little bit limited with an injury, but his sideline demeanor and how he's acted throughout the week has really, I think, added value to everyone in our organization. And then the workout warrior of the week for us this week, which is the guy that's maybe a developmental guy working extra with Coach Witt, is Nick Trammell, a kicker who's doing a good job in the weight room. Turning the page to Western Kentucky, obviously some familiarity with these guys, having played them last year up there at their place. They are a really good football team athletically. I think they have one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football in Austin Reed. He's got a huge arm, can make all the throws, accurate, really a better runner than people give him credit for. I think he extends plays, creates plays with his legs, and does a lot of things well. I think he's a guy that's got an NFL future in front of him. They're really good at receiver. Their skill guys are, I think, upper echelon in all a group of five. It starts with Malachi Corley, but he's not the only one, but he's another NFL player. I mean, I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. They got a couple other guys that haven't even really played much because they've been injured in training camp who may come back skill-wise and are really good. O-line's got 4 or 5 starters back from guys that started at times last year, so they're really good there. Tight end's a good player. I remember him in high school. He's been there for 3 years now. I was at Kentucky when he came out, but he's from West Limestone up in North Alabama. And then at running back, they're strong, physical. They run with power and have good speed. Defensively, number 3, their outside linebacker, edge rusher. He is as good as anybody we've seen all year and might see all year. I remember him as well out of high school a couple years ago. He's from Dublin, Georgia. I recruited him a little bit at Kentucky, and Jaquez Evans, he's a big-time player. Big up front. Last week, the group he played was really twitchy. This group's just big, man. They stick out with their size. And they got some good secondary players. I think their secondary covers you up good. And so good challenge. I think they're one of the premier group of 5 programs in all of college football. They showed it with how they played last year. They finished 9-4. They won their bowl game. They've been really good on both sides of the ball. They're well coached, and they're sound in the kicking game. They got a left-footed punter, which is a little bit different. We'll have to work on some of that stuff from a preparation standpoint. But with that, we'll open up to questions.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Sorry, Lindsay.
So it's Rosie. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Rosie. John, just really, really fast. Did you ever get an explanation on those 2 defensive penalties, the weird ones where they got those 5 yards, I guess, the distraction penalties?
Yeah, the one, so you can't simulate a snap count, which some offensive teams use the clap to get the ball snapped. One, we had a linebacker trying to communicate with the DB, and we've shown our guys these in training camp. But sometimes you just naturally, to get somebody's attention, you may snap like I just did or clap. And one of our second-level defenders at linebacker communicating with the DB was trying to get his attention on what coverage we were playing and clapped twice. The snap infraction piece that came there was well after the clap, so the timing I thought was a little bit different. And then the other one, it was a guy that slapped his hip to co-sign he got a call, which we have done forever. And I guess I think I've been doing that since I was a little kid in football. Like if the guy behind you tells you something to co-sign it, you just tap your hip. And I didn't think that one was loud enough to get the attention of anything, and the ball was moved on that one well after the hip was tapped. So I kind of thought that was a little bit off, but I didn't even turn him to the league because I know I'm going to get told I was wrong. So I didn't even ask for an explanation because I know I'm wrong.
Coach, this is Rosie Langella from WSFA. You mentioned it in your post-game presser and then just today about Kamani and trying to get him more touches. What are you guys doing this week with the game plan to make sure that he does have more touches in this game?
Yeah, that's a good question. Last week we felt there were things there in the pass game to be had, and so we did have every week different plan to how you win the game, and we felt like there were a lot of things maybe there in the throw game for us down the field with our matchups at receiver. But we can't lose sight of the fact that 28 is 28, and he's one of our best players, and he's got to get the football. And some games dictate a little bit different play style. And they were really good up front, but we're going to make sure we get him involved. And some of his touches may come on the perimeter in the pass game or different ways. But when you've got a great player who also is one of your hardest workers and is also like one of the best people on your team, we need to make sure we figure out ways to get him enough touches to be effective in a game plan.
Hey, John, this is John in Dothan. If you would, give us an update on Stephen Catledge, his injury situation. The other question, Robert Cole's been really consistent, really taken right off where Mike Rivers left off, I guess, from last year, and having a consistent punter like that, I know is a luxury. If you'll talk a little bit about him as well, please.
Yeah, Cat is doubtful for this game this week, and I think he's got a chance to return in the next few weeks, but don't really know. But I don't see him playing Saturday as of right now. Robert Cole, man, he can boom it. When you're evaluating punters, and I love special teams and was a special teams coordinator here, so I love this part of the game. You usually look for guys that are long, that have long levers, and when they swing, they can really drive the ball. Robert's different. He's not built like one of those long-limbed guys that's got a long lever, long leg to swing through. He's a shorter, stockier built guy, but man, he booms it. And he's been really good on his op times. I've stressed on him when he got here. I thought he was a touch slow. When the ball got back, he sped that up. He when he doesn't worry about over hitting the ball, he absolutely crushes the ball. It's almost like some golfers where if you think about hitting the ball real hard, you usually flub it. He doesn't. When he just is nice and easy, man, he can crush it. And so thought he punted pretty well most of the year. He hit one that I think he'd like to have back last week. Still needs to improve a little bit from a directional standpoint, but he's doing a nice job and can really drive it and put it up with good hang.
Hey, John. TJ had some really good play last week. Obviously, this is the first time we've seen him all year. And I do believe on that one third down play that led to the touchdown, he got a really good push into the backfield and looked like he almost made the play on the quarterback. How important or pivotal is it to have him back in that defensive line rotation?
Yeah, it's good to have him back. When something you have to have a guy away for a little while and maybe some disciplinary things happen. We love all the guys on our team and care about all of them deeply. Our number one thing around here is protect the team. No one individual is bigger than the team. That includes myself. But our team's glad to have him back. I think the guys on the team have welcomed him back the right way. And, I'll say this about TJ. He was a first-team all-conference player last year, and when he came back, I sent him over to scout team for about 3 weeks. And he didn't go over there and mope around. He went over there and wrecked shop. He was a scout team player of the week last week, or the job taker of the week, not because we just wanted to give him an award. It's because he went down there and took a boatload of reps and made our O-line better by how he practiced. And, you could see where he flashed and has the ability he has at times. There were still some things you could see that he's not quite into form from a rhythm or some standpoint, but he was a lot closer to his normal form for the layoff he's had than I anticipated. And so thought, you bring him back into the fold. You bring Raymond Cutts back into the fold after he was out for about 4 weeks of training camp with a little issue with an arm. I think our D-line's got good depth, and I like the pieces we have up there.
Hey, Coach, it's Lindsey Bonner from WKU in Montgomery. You guys had negative 12 yards rushing at JMU over the weekend. Do you feel like it was more miscues on the offensive line or an issue with the running back room?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think going back, some of it was the plan to win. We knew we needed to throw the ball a little bit more than we had, and we felt like that was there. Did not hold up the line of scrimmage well enough. Probably abandoned the run game a little bit early because the throw game was working at times. But then also we took some negative plays in the run game. And then the other thing, and this doesn't answer for having negative yards rushing, but the other thing, sacks and those sort of things go on rushing stats in college football, not passing like they do in the NFL. And so that affected it also. But it was a combination of felt like our plan to win was to throw the ball more. Didn't probably play good enough up front to really move them and create running lanes consistent enough. And then probably just didn't call enough runs to really get in rhythm. The run game sometimes takes time to wear people down and get into that flow. And we did not stick to our guns maybe quite as much as we have in the past. Some of it was who we felt like we needed to be to win that game. Some of it was we felt like what was their strength versus their weakness. I don't think it was a whole lot on the running back room per se, though.
Hey, John, it's Jamal again. Another 11 a.m. kick. Obviously, you've experienced now with the Kansas State game, kind of getting ready for that. Do you take anything from that preparation and just knowing how to now better prepare yourself, possibly to get off to a better start offensively and just in general?
Yeah, the schedule, your pregame timeline, you're eating pregame meal at like 7:30, which is significantly earlier, and there's a lot of things you do that are expedited. I think it, having done it once already, does at least have give us that experience, gives us an opportunity to learn from that and grow. And it's nice to have already done something that you're going to do that's maybe a little different or unique. I personally love 11 a.m. kickoff. I know some people probably hate it. When we got game day, I would like to wake up and like not even eat breakfast and just go play. I hate sitting around waiting for 7 o'clock game. I like 6 o'clock game. Give me a Spark, a coffee, or whatever, a Red Bull, and let's go play.
Coach Nick Brooks with WTVY down in Dothan. Western Kentucky still seems like a very strong offensive team like they were last year. I don't think averaging the same amount of points when you played them at this point in the season, but still kind of just talk about playing such an offensive-heavy team that certainly can prepare you for conference play later down the road.
Yeah, what's scary there, Nick, you just said they're not averaging what they averaged last year. I don't remember what they're averaging after 3 games last year, but they're averaging like 34-point-something points per game, which is pretty good. So I'd like to average 34 points a game offensively. I'd feel a lot better about life. So they're good, man. They got great players. Their scheme presents issues for you. They do a really nice job. Like, I think, option teams count numbers and run the ball where they have numbers advantage. The teams like this counts. They look at space and leverage and depth. And if you're 2 over 2, but one guy's down and one guy's way off, they'll throw a screen. All right? Or if you're 2 over 2 and nobody's down at all, but the apex guy is somewhere in between, they'll throw the screen. If the apex guy is way out wide, they won't, and they'll run it, and they'll gash you in the run game. They just try to get lined up fast, make you get lined up fast, get a clean picture, and just try to get the ball where space is and where they maybe have a numbers advantage. And they got really good players. I mean, like I said, I think their quarterback's an NFL player. I think the slot receiver, number 11, Corley, is an NFL player. I think they're really experienced on the O-line. I think some of their better receivers, one of them hadn't even really played this year, number 4, Michael Matheson. I remember him from last year. He hadn't played yet. I don't know if he's playing against us. I hope he's healthy, but I'd love for him to not play against us and be healthy. But he is a good player. Their outside guys are big. Their tight end, like I mentioned earlier, is good. Their running backs are good. They're just a really good football team offensively, and they've been that for the last several years. They've put a lot of points on a lot of good defenses.
Last question from me, John, I promise. We might have talked about this a little bit last year, especially with this Western Kentucky matchup. But when you have these big group of 5 games like this, that kind of are kind of like the bigger games in the week for you guys, is it maybe like a test to kind of show where you stand among those teams?
Yeah, I think I really like the challenge that our schedule presents. From week 1 we played an FCS team that was a conference champion. Week 2, a Power 5 team that was a conference champion. Last week, a team that tied for the top of the division in their side in our league, and then another team that's perennially been in the conversation for being conference champions the last several years in their league. And these guys, like I said, they won their bowl game. They won 9 games last year. That's they got elite players for the Group of 5 level. I think it's a great measuring stick to figure out where we are. And we already know some of our issues that we got to get cleaned up quickly. And these guys, they'll test you in a lot of different ways. And I like playing good football teams. I'd much rather play good teams and get challenged because I think that gets everybody's full attention. And they're a really good team. Everybody good? Thank
Coach,
you.
I got one more regarding. I think you guys are on ESP and you do this. Just kind of talk about, from the side of getting Troy football on more television channels, how that helps you maybe.
Yeah, it helps you if you play good, and we need to play good. It's good that our program's gotten enough recognition in the last year and a half that people want us to be on TV. That's a positive. That starts with our players and our fan base, and we got players that people want to watch, and I think we've got a community that loves football, and that makes putting us on TV something that's worthwhile. And hopefully we can do a good job to perform to our standard. The scoreboard, the box score is going to happen regardless whether it's TV, radio, whatever. But I do think it's nice that we're able to get that kind of attention, and TV games are great exposure for our town, our university, our players, our program, everyone involved, and grateful to have the opportunity to play on TV.
Hey, Dale, this is John Johnson from the Dothan Eagle. Just want to talk to you about facing a quarterback like Austin Reed at Western Kentucky, what you've seen from him on film and how they throw the ball around.
I'm going to give him his respect. He's definitely a very talented guy. Obviously, their offense has had a lot of success over the past couple of years, and it's going to be a great challenge for our defense, just going to push us to another level and continue to play to our best. Last week was a good showing for us of what we can do. We got a lot of things we need to, do better still, but we're growing and we're taking strides. So I think it's going to be fun playing against a quarterback and an offense that's skilled and talented.
Hey, Dell, just the challenge of week to week of playing a team from James Madison to now Western Kentucky. Obviously, you played against Western Kentucky last year, but when you flip the switch, when you flip the film on, what kind of challenges jump out differently about this team?
Definitely got to stop explosive plays, especially through the air. We got to make sure that we play everything top down and make sure that nobody is getting cut free, basically, making sure that we're in the spots we're supposed to be, and just stopping explosive plays, because if we can do that, then we'll get them out of their game, and the more uncomfortable they get, the quicker they'll create errors, and that's exactly what we want.
Dell, after the loss, what are you saying to guys in the locker room, or what has the locker room been like to try to pick everybody up to play the game this week?
Well, obviously, that's a tough loss, especially, it being at home and it being that close. But we're a resilient team, and we know that. Last season, we started the exact same way, 1-2, and then we went on to have a lot of success. And that's just because, we got great leaders in the locker room. We got a great coaching staff who continues to push and motivate us and continues to find ways to, make us better. And, sometimes a loss can do that for you. And if that's what it takes for us to be our best, then I'll gladly accept that challenge for us to move forward.
Dell, to piggyback off of that, knowing that you get another home game, though, you get another chance to play in front of your home crowd, how much does that excite you and get you up for the opportunity to go out and put a win, back in front of the home team's fans?
I'm thankful for it. I love playing here, and especially being my last season, I value every opportunity I get to play in front of this crowd, this community. They've done amazing things and showed amazing support for us these past couple seasons, and we love it. And, they just got a great atmosphere here. I love our student section. They always bring a lot of energy. I love what they do for us on the field. and they just bring us a lot of juice. So I mean, I'm glad. I'm thankful for every opportunity we get to play here.
I've got a question from over here, if you'll let me. This is Barry McKnight. I think this will be your 50th straight start, or maybe 51st, which is the longest active start streak in the nation. Aside from being just obviously talented enough to start every week.
Yes, sir.
Has it been grueling for you? I mean, can you attribute that to something? Has it been, being healthy and all that is also a challenge?
I
right?
mean, being healthy is definitely the first part, and I credit that to like God first, because I mean, he could take this away from me anytime that he wants. So I mean, I'm definitely thankful for that. And then just here in Troy, like our training staff, because of course like playing for this long, you get nicked up and bruised and all that good stuff. But we got a great staff with us who helps like take care of us and keep us healthy and keep us safe, even though guys like me who are hard-headed don't like want to do particular things sometimes in treatment that we know is going to make us better. But they definitely do a great job of taking care of us. I didn't know that, honestly, like the start thing, but I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I'm thankful for the opportunity I was given early in my career to like, start that process. So I mean, I'm definitely happy about that, and I'm just going to keep on taking it one day at a time.
Dell, before you go, really quickly, what do you see when a receiver, I guess, is in the open field and about to catch a ball? Because you close that gap really, really fast and deliver a lot of hard hits. Just what do you see when you see a receiver in the open field and you're about to get to the point of attack?
Honestly, it always starts with great eyes. That's where our coaches stress, great eyes and having your eyes in the right place. And once I see the ball in the air, I'm just like, able to break and use my leverage, whether it's the sideline, whether I have teammates coming in to help from the inside. Coach always says take your shot, and I mean, I definitely am a fan of that. I love to hit. I mean, it's the best part of the game. You get to knock somebody out and not get in trouble for it. So, I mean, I love it. Every opportunity I can to just go and like lay a hit on somebody is like, it's great for the team. It's great for morale, especially at home. It gets the crowd into it, especially if it's like a third down or something big for us. So, it's just a great part of the game that I love.